Now, I am always a fan of trying to make as many resources as possible, try and get as much information out there as possible. And so I've been doing some playing around, and I've made something that hopefully doesn't make me redundant, but hopefully you guys will all find it useful. So if I just bring up here, I would like to introduce you to everyone's favourite new friend, GPT. We all have been using ChatGPT for something or other, I'm sure, and it dawned on me, why don't we use it for generating KFP type questions as well? So this is the Generally Practicing KFP Short Answer Question GPT that I have made. The link for this is down in the description, so if you want to open it up, play around, have a shot, go for it and see how you go. To give you a little example here, let's say we'll use one of these provider things, generate a postpartum depression KFP question. And I have put in a whole bunch of different cases, different parameters, different resources to try and build up cases here. And as you can see, it gives us a nice clinical stem, gives us some examination findings, and asks us what these questions could be. It's still a work in progress. There's still a lot of diagnosis, investigation, management kind of things, which admittedly are actually, what a lot of the KFP exam is actually about. I'm trying to make it be a little bit more organic in the way that the KFP exam itself is. And of course, we actually have some answers put out here as well. This will even try to group. The grouping's not fantastic. Again, this is a work in progress, but have a play around. See what you think, see how you like it, and look, I'd really welcome any feedback to try and make it as good as possible, because ultimately this is one of those exams that the more you practice, the more questions you can do, the better. Bearing in mind that a lot of this is about the formatting of the answers, and so we should take that into consideration. I haven't got grading responses yet, and I'm still not fantastic. I was still not very happy with the way it's currently wording answers. For example, here for question 1.4, you would definitely be in overcoding territory for putting that in there, but I wanted to give you ideas of the type of answers you can put in. Check it out. I'll be trying to improve it as we play along, but of course, otherwise, we always go through some questions here on this live stream. We are 45 days to the 2025.1 KFP exam. And while I'm sure you're all getting into exam mode, getting ready, I also want you to have a little think about what comes next. I want you to start planning now how you intend to navigate post-GP fellowship, because it's going to come much faster than you think about it. And I want you to know how to actually prepare for this and what it actually means. So let's start off. First thing you should do is celebrate your achievement. Celebrate the fact that you have gotten through, and I want you to actually plan something, as weird as this sounds, to achieve that. Have a think through on everything you've achieved so far, all of your career goals, all the way from getting through medical school, which, let's be honest, is worth celebrating as well, all the way through to joining the training program and now succeeding on the other side. Just like each of those steps you've been through before, we have mentors. We have people that help show us the way, whether it's our teachers, our educators, our instructors, all the way through to our GP supervisors. I want you to find someone that you can still stay linked in with to maintain that mentorship program, preferably someone that's had many more years experience than you have, and use them as a bit of a lodestone. It's a bit of a idea of how you want your career to progress, because I think it's very easy to think, well, I'm done, I'm unleashed onto the world, I can do whatever I want, and we lose that bit of camaraderie, that bit of guidance from those who've been there before. And of course, for everyone that you've been studying alongside, stay connected, swap details, send messages from time to time, because I think it's a really valuable thing to keep in contact, keep those professional relationships up, and it can be at times lonely being in general practice, and so I want you to have all of those kind of supports in place as well. Now, a topic of great frustration for many people is understanding what the employment structures are, whether you're going to be gaining contracted employment or if you're actually going to be an independent contractor. You should be having a think about that now, having a talk to the clinics you intend to work at to find out what kind of employment opportunities they have, because that may dramatically change the way you need to approach your financial situation moving forward, and have a think about what kind of agreements you're going to be participating in, what kind of billing percentages is usually the big one, you're happy to accept or not accept. Once you start getting into the nitty-gritty, once you start thinking about the clinic you want to work in, if you do know that clinic, start having a think about those legal and financial counsels. Get a good accountant who's familiar with general practice and what it actually means to be an independent contractor, and particularly if you're going down that pathway, and try and learn now as much as you can about that process, because before too much longer, you're going to be a fellow and need to have all this in place to be practicing. And so you don't want to be trying to awkwardly scramble around in the last couple of weeks trying to get this set up. Now, of course, for financial planning and the business acumen, I want you to make sure when you're setting yourself up as a business entity that you actually choose the right business structure for you. And this is why, from now, I want you to be actually exploring what all those options are and speaking to someone that knows these setups and knows what's best for your specific circumstances. Likewise, start once you establish what your percentages and billing cycles and things like that will be, have an effective budget in place for how you intend to manage the first 6 months of your practice and how you might want to continue beyond that as well. Allocate some time to actually review how you're going, what your progress is, how your savings are, and make sure you understand your tax obligations. You should be setting up from very early on multiple bank accounts in order to separate out or hide, or hold rather, is probably a better way to put it, rather than hide. Hide sounds like tax evasion. I want you to hold money in different accounts to be able to safely allocate what you can and can't spend, what needs to be held for other things. This is actually easier than ever. A lot of online banking setups will now offer pretty much instantaneous new account setups, and most banks can even let you have multiple, let's say you're dealing with a mortgage, you can actually have multiple offset accounts contributing to that, where you can have that money sitting there helping minimize your interest rates while you have it safe and don't have that direct access to it that can tempt you to potentially overspend. Now, another thing that's really easy to accidentally do is to fail to continue your education. Once you've fellowed, you need to make serious efforts to make sure you're actually keeping up to date. It's easy to lag behind if you don't have people pushing you forward. So make sure you engage in CPD activities, that you're attending new fellows events, and RACGP always have a list of different events running. Try and set yourself learning objectives. If you hear about something new that's come out, or you're flagging a condition that you don't know much about, make sure you actually dedicate some time to brush up, learn up, and see how things have changed as well. And of course, it's all about maintaining your professional competence, so make sure you're signed up for a CPD home, which is also important for your ongoing registration. And at the end of all this, as we like to try and sneak in, make sure you're actually looking after yourself as well. Make sure you're prioritizing your well-being, and in particular, one of the main things most of us come to general practice for is that work-life balance. Try and give yourself boundaries. The time that you start at and the time you finish at. Try and make those hard times that you do not cross, to make sure that you're leaving work at work and home at home. Now, I work in the country where if I go to the shops, I need to set aside an extra half hour to chat with all the patients that I run into and try and avoid reviewing their rash in the veggie aisle. Has actually happened. Don't want to talk about it. Have a think about how you're going to handle that, how you're going to handle the stress of new fellowship, because it is significant as well, and how you're going to seek support when needed, and explore things like employee assistance programs and making sure you have your own support network activated as well. And always, always, always try and foster a personal interest. Have something completely unrelated to general practice, medicine, and just something that recharges your emotional and social batteries at the same time.